Are you concerned by the blacklisting of a Chinese firm that is a subsidiary of the firm building the high-capacity metro trains, a blacklisting by the United States?
Yeah, look, I would say to you that that company delivered the Waratah trains in Sydney, which was a similar project.
As in the subsidiary or the
Well, there's links. Again, these are decisions made by the government of the United States, so I don't think they necessarily consult anybody here about those sorts of decisions. But I would just point out to you that that project sees the bogies for those trains are made in Bendigo, the electronics are made in Morwell, the pantographs are made in Hallam, the shell is from China, yes, but a lot of the assembly and the basic work are done at railway workshops in Newport. So there are many, many thousands of jobs that are underpinned here locally by that partnership. And again, I just make the point, the Waratah fleet, as I'm advised, up in Sydney, there was a connection, there was a contract with the same company. So we have local content requirements. It's a really important project and we're pushing ahead with it.
Would there be the cause to perhaps review what the security threat, if there is any, to Victoria might be?
Well, I think it's important to, if those judgments are to be made, then they should be made by security agencies, not by the United States government. Like seriously, they've made some choice. I don't know what the basis of that decision is. The New South Wales government has contracted with this company. We've contracted with this company, as I've just said to you, whether it's in Bendigo, Morwell, Hallam, or in Newport, and probably a whole bunch of other places as well across our state. The workforce doesn't come from there. The workforce is local. It's a very substantial workforce, and we're getting on and getting this project done.
Doesn't it raise a flag though and say, or maybe we should at least review the security or ask the security agencies to review?
I've got no advice to that end. So no, we won't be reviewing these matters. We're getting on and getting these trains built.
The Waratah trains have been plagued by problems before you signed this contract. They were well known, well documented.
Yeah, I wasn't asked a question, Lundy, with the greatest of respect. I wasn't asked a question about the equivalence of the product. I was asked about who actually delivered it.
I actually did ask you about it when you signed the contract. And
you were probably with me at the time.
I think I was.
Very good.
And I remember the then Transport Minister assuring us there would be no problems. The trains are now almost 2 years late.
You have to be certain, Lundy, when you're making such a big transformation, such a big change. This is the biggest, if you like, step change in rolling stock that we've seen for a very long time. High capacity signalling, more carriages, more passengers, being able to operate throughout that metro tunnel, freeing up rolling stock that's of quite a high standard now to move that to other lines. You can't compromise safety. You can't compromise making sure that you get the testing right, making sure that you've got the product exactly where it needs to be. And we'll have some announcements to make about this project soon. But this is, I think it's fair to say, at least my last discussion with relevant ministers only last week, this will, I think, represent probably the most rigorous piloting, proving, safety testing program that has ever been rolled out, not just in Victoria, but perhaps anywhere across the nation. And I don't think it should be any different. I think you've got to be really careful that you've got a product that, with all those different components and some complexity to it, is as safe as it can be. And I think we're not only meeting those standards at a national level, because those standards are indeed national, I think we're going beyond that. And that's exactly the way that I want it.
But I guess given the problems with the Waratah trains, why did you sign us up to a consortium who clearly had issues? And that's been evidenced now. The fact that
well, no, I wouldn't accept the conclusion that any issues that with this project are the same as the issues that were experienced in New South Wales. I wouldn't accept that at all. What I can say to you though is we're making sure this is done properly, and we're making sure that it's not just to the highest standards, but it in fact exceeds the highest standards, given the sheer volume of people that are going to be moved. Getting from home to where they need to be and back again. We want to make sure that this is done to the highest standard, and we are making good progress to that. But that proving, that testing, does in fact take time, and I think it's worth it on the basis that you get a much better outcome for that. That's at least our aim.
Do you know when they'll be on the tracks yet?
I'm not here to make any announcements about that, but when I am ready to make those announcements, I will.
So we still don't know?
That's not what I said. That's not what I said. I don't have the details in front of me. When I do, that'll be the day when I'm announcing that.
So just on the security review, why won't you review the security from a national security agency?
Well, you're assuming in your question that there is a national security issue. That's the first assumption. Secondly, I don't do national security reviews. They're done by national security agencies. No one's raised any questions about this company with us. If that were to change, then we would take the appropriate action. But there's a hypothetical on a hypothetical wrapped up with quite a few assumptions. And the decision of not the Australian government, the decision of another government on the other side of the world, the nature of which, the details of which, what prompted that decision, that's not clear to me. It's perhaps not clear to anyone. Sorry?
My question is, have you asked for one?
No.
Why?
I don't spend every day on the phone to national security agencies asking, what if questions. If they've got an issue, then I'd be confident they would raise it with us. And to my understanding, they haven't.
Department of Foreign Affairs did offer a review on the Belt and Road Initiative.
Well, what's this got to do with the Belt and Road?
Okay.
Nothing.
It's just a question on
Nothing.
security.
So therefore, nothing. Any other questions?
Is there
yes.
though, Premier?
Honestly, yes. Any other questions?
The Australian Strategic Policy Institute, they listed this company as one of 82 that either directly or indirectly benefits from the use of Uighur workers through
Yes,
potentially...
and that's been an issue that's been raised in the past, and we've sought assurances that that is not an accurate statement in relation to the work that we have contracted them to do, and we've received those assurances.
But you're
That's the latest advice I
You're
have.
still happy to do business with a company that is
Well,
on the record as
Rachel, I'm happy to
Uighur
make
labour?
sure that there are people making bogies in Bendigo, electronics in Morwell, pantographs in Hallam, and the railway workshops at Newport that were essentially closed down are now open again and have got a very strong future. So again, I've made the point many, many times, we don't agree with everything that's done in every country around the world, but ultimately we are about getting things done. And
Even if it means doing business with a company that's used Uighur labour?
well, we've made our views, our preferences, and what we want to see happen well known, and we've received assurances to that end. And the trains are being built, the contract's signed, it's being delivered. It's a long-standing arrangement.
What kind of assurances have you sought? We know the extent of how Uyghur Muslims in China are being treated at the moment by both Chinese, CCP companies as well. I guess what kind of assurances have you sought?
I'd need to come back to you on the exact details of that. It's some time ago, but I'm more than happy to follow that up.
If that's okay.
I don't have it in front of me.